Thanks for stopping by, guys, and welcome back to Stormworks. Now, today we're going to be looking at a concept vehicle, I should say, or a concept entirely, as today's video is going to be about these missiles in particular. Now, these are a vertical launch missile concept. Essentially, it is a normal laser-guided missile. In both cases, you could easily do a radar-guided if you wish. However, these launch vertically, turn in the air, and then fire at the target. So if I go ahead and hop in here, don't mind the actual test bed that this is placed on. I've been doing some experiments with jet engines and efficiency for that matter. If I launch this, you'll see the missile launches up, tilts, and then actually engages its thruster to hit its target. And this actually works surprisingly close range as well. Since the system that it's running actually waits for a lock on to the laser, you can actually let it pivot until it sees the thing right in front of you. That time it didn't detonate on the ground because it was going too fast. But if, for example, set up something like this, it'll actually strike the vehicle directly in front of you. Now, why use this system? These missiles are a little bit larger than if you would do just a normal straight missile, but part of the reason I wanted to do this is so that you could actually have the missiles well behind cover with nothing but the laser pointing out. Because one of the issues is with the missiles exposed to be able to launch over the actual hill or whatever obstacles in front of you, there's a high likelihood that the missile will hit the hill. Let's see if I can actually get that to happen with the missile that's on the front here. Case in point. However, with a vertical launch, missile launches well over the obstacle and then comes down onto the target. And since the missiles aren't exposed externally, they're less likely to be hit. This could easily be buried into the chassis or into the turret well of the vehicle. It might cause the vehicle to become higher, however, it means you can actually armor the missiles up quite a bit more. And it honestly just looks cool seeing the missile launch up, turn, and then fire. So, let's take a look at actually how this works. Take this back and let's make sure all the missiles are reloaded. There we go. And what's happening here is if we go ahead and grab a singular missile, we have what is essentially two rocket bodies side by side, and this is just to make it shorter and more compact. The explosive, which is put sideways for balance, the laser, and then the actual logic controller. A lot of this logic is a bit redundant. I haven't refined this concept to actually make it nice and clean quite yet. So what essentially happens is when you hit the launch button, these two initial stages down here fire. These are enough to throw the missile into the air. However, the one up front has very little fuel, just enough to toss it into the air. The one behind it has slightly more, so after the missile gets its height, this one still burns, causing that initial pivot. And it's that pivot that causes the laser to scan across the ground. The actual laser is equipped or attached directly to the fins, so the fins are always under the missiles or the laser's control. However, the actual second stage of rockets is controlled by this microcontroller. I'm not going to go through it because, like I said, I haven't had the chance to clean this up yet. However, essentially what is happening is it's detecting, one, does the actual sensor see the laser? If it does see the laser, check if it's within a certain box, because you want to have the missile actually pointed directly at it when it launches its rockets. And if it sees the laser, if it's within a certain target range, how long is it there for? It just makes sure that it has the laser long enough to go, okay, that is the target. And then it fires the rockets. And it's just 2 nodes, just the actual data from the laser, which detects if there is a target, if the target is within that box. If it is for long enough, fire that second stage. And that's about it. The 2 bottom thrusters deal with the initial launch and turn. The logic detects the target, and then once the target is detected, sets the second rockets off. And the fins are constantly being controlled, so they don't really do much. They're just a normal rocket missile. I think these would be really cool to use for a anti-tank guided missile system, where it's just if you remember the War Thunder high-tech future tanks design, where the anti-tank was just a flat tank with a bunch of vertical launch missiles. I think that's what this would be cool to be used for. Just have 10, 15, 20 of these vertical launch missiles just in the engine deck of a tank, with just a laser guidance system that can poke over hills. It's so satisfying to see those things launch, turn, and then fire their rockets. And I will admit, I'm describing this as an application for tanks. However, I do believe this would be even better for an actual ship or something, where you could put the missile below deck. Just have missile tubes below deck. And honestly, that's about it. Just kind of looking at this concept, looking at this idea, giving some ideas, and maybe seeing what sort of feedback you guys have to how to make this better or make the missiles more compact. Because, to be honest, a normal missile is tiny, but like I said, it has its flaws, so being able to make it a vertical launch would be really nice. Whilst also having the close range capabilities that these do because of the sensor system that is set up on it. So yeah, that's about it. Just a concept video. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and end it here really quickly. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. And until next time, peace.